What's up guys, Perry from Rockville here, and today we're going to show you how to set up the ATV220 UTV and motorcycle Bluetooth amplifier. As you can see, it comes with the amplifier itself with all of the wires, inputs, and outputs needed to connect to your speakers or head unit. It also comes with 4 screws to mount your amplifier, an extra fuse, a cover removal tool, and 2 adapters for your high voltage radio. So first let's take a look at all of the wires, inputs, and outputs on the amplifier. This red cable here acts as the power cable to run to the 12 volt of your battery, and the black cable acts as the ground cable to run to the ground terminal of your battery. Then you have the blue ACC remote and ignition wire, which will run to the ignition of your vehicle so that the amplifier powers on as soon as your vehicle does. We also have all of the speaker wires so you can connect your speakers right to the amp. So you have the white wires that act as the channel 1 or left speaker outputs, with the plain wire as the positive and the one with the black stripe as the negative. And then you have the gray wires that act as the channel 2 or right speaker output, with the plain wire as the positive and the one with the black stripe as the negative. You also have your RCA inputs to connect your head unit, receiver, etc. So to connect your speakers to your amplifier, you're going to need some speaker wire. So you're going to take your red wire and connect it to the positive wire of channel 1 to start. Then you're going to take the black wire and connect that to the negative wire on channel 1. After that, you're going to take the other end of your speaker wire and connect that to the positive and negative terminals of your speaker. So then you're going to want to do the same exact thing for channel 2, with the positive going to the positive and the negative going to the negative. Now one thing to keep in mind is that the channels on the amplifier are 2 ohms stable. Now what's also really cool is that we can connect our smartphone or tablet to the amplifier through Bluetooth. To do that, all I'm going to do is go into the Bluetooth settings, search for the device that reads ATV220, and click on it to pair. So now that I've got some speakers connected to channels 1 and 2, let's play some music and hear how it sounds. So when you disconnect your smart device from the amplifier, it will automatically be looking for a signal coming from your RCA input. So next let's take a look at the controls for the amplifier, which we can access through the top panel here. To remove the panel, you're just going to take a screwdriver to remove all of these screws here. Then you're going to take the cover removal tool here and use the top of the removal tool to remove the panel. So now you'll see the controls for channels 1 and 2, which will really allow you to fine-tune the amp around your setup. So you have the frequency knob here from 32 Hz to 320 Hz. That works in conjunction with your crossover switch right next to it. So you can either set it to the off position, which means it's bypassing the crossover and playing the full range of frequency out of your speakers. Then you have the high pass filter, which means it's going to play all of the frequencies above wherever you set your frequency knob to. This is good to use if you already have a dedicated subwoofer in your setup, or if you're using the amp to play small to mid-range drivers. So for example, if I set the frequency to 200 Hz, it's going to play everything from 200 Hz up in the high pass filter mode. Then you have the low pass filter mode, which will play the frequencies below where you set the frequency knob. So if I set this knob to 150 Hz, everything from 150 Hz and below will come out of the speakers. This is great if you have a subwoofer connected to channels 1 and 2 and you're really trying to target the low end. We also have the level knob to set the gain for channels 1 and 2, and right next to that we have the input voltage switch. Now you're going to want to set this switch to low if you're connecting a standard head unit or receiver to the amp, and you'll want to set this to high if you're using the high level adapters to get signal directly from speaker wire for your factory head unit or receiver. Now like I mentioned, we can also set up a head unit to the amplifier to play some music. To do that, I'm going to need an RCA cable. I'm going to take one end and plug it into the RCA outputs on the back of my head unit. Then take the other end and plug it into the RCA inputs of your amplifier. You're also going to want to be sure to set the input voltage switch to the right setting. So if you're using a head unit with pre-outputs like the one we have today, you're going to want to set this to the low setting. Or if you wanted to set up your amplifier to a factory radio, you'll want to flip the switch to the high input setting. So hopefully this showed you guys how easy it is to set up your ATV220 UTV and motorcycle Bluetooth amplifier. But of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to our customer support team through phone or email. As always, I'm Perry from Rockville, and we'll see you guys next time.